Hi, thanks for joining me on another video. We'll be talking about the usefulness of the birch tree. We'll be talking about making a birch tea, then birch leaf oil, then extracting oils from the birch bark, and then lastly we'll be talking about the sap that you can get from the birch tree in the early spring months. Stay with me, guys. Hey guys, this is a birch tree. You can tell by the silvery white bark. You can also tell by the leaf, as it's a broad leaf, it's got toothed edges on it. Usually grows in pairs. That is a birch. Now what we're going to do, we're going to collect these up. The aim is to collect the most healthiest looking leaves. So we're going to pick these up, and then we'll start processing these for tea. What you must remember is to watch out with the aphids. If you're squeamish, you'd want to either pick them off or watch them when you get home. But when you do pick the leaves, take them first, pick them, but don't concentrate on a tiny area. Spread around. This will help, doing it this way helps to not turn the tree. That's the most important thing. We want to be able to come back to this resource, so we want to sustainably collect things. Okay, moving on to another area now. It's like I was saying, you don't want to concentrate on a small area or even just one area, because you'll harm the tree if you keep going from the same area. So the best thing to do is to spread around, collect a few from an area, move on to another one. That's exactly what we're doing here. So, again, inspecting the leaves. Right, then collect these up, then see you in a bit. Right, so all you really need is a mesh or something similar. I'm using an old fan cover. So as long as the leaves, well, you can use anything really, as long as it's got enough airflow to dry and the leaves aren't in a damp place where they can suck up moisture. Lay the leaves over evenly, or as flat as you can, which is why I'm being a bit meticulous with it. It's just so that the airflow gets to it. Okay, so carry on with that. Right, there we go. Goes on top of the boiler where it's warm. This has constant airflow in it, so it's nice and airy. There's not any moisture in here. So now we're just going to close the door. As you can see, it's pretty dark in there. And wait for that to dry. Right, okay. So usually I'd be using this to boil it in on a campfire, but don't have that luxury today because well, as you can see, the grill's too big for it, so I'm going to use one of these instead, which is a camping kettle, which has its own little tea strainer, which is good for what we use it for, because usually I just get a tea bag like this. In fact, I think that's got something in it already, so we shall open it up and see. Basically all it is just a handkerchief that has been stitched, and as you can see, I just put my items in there. Just put my herbs in there, scrunch it up, tie it in a knot, and then obviously put it in there to steep it. So let's just put that on there so I know. These are the birch leaves that we'll be using, nice and dry. The reason why I like them nice and dry is because they crumble up a lot better, giving them more surface area to make a good tea. So wait for this to boil, and then we'll start making the infusion, and then I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, I thought I'd explain a bit more about this tea bag. What I've done is I've put this inside out. As you can see, what I've done is I've done a running stitch down and then a running stitch back up, and then the same with that side. I don't know if you can see that. So I've done a running stitch down, a running stitch up on either side. Just got an old handkerchief and did it that way, because it's a tight weave. Because it's a tight weave cotton, it strains it out brilliantly. But basically I've just made a reusable tea bag. The modification I'm going to make to this is going to be a drawstring, by sewing that bit down around a string instead of using twine all the time, and get a good clean string around there so I can draw it up and then just dip it in and out. So yeah, even though this does have a tea strainer, I'll still be using this. Okay, so I'll show you what I'll do with the tea bag now. So put the leaves in, pretty much grab them, stick them in. It's easier just to get the leaves whole, to be quite honest, at this stage, because they're a lot easier to manage. Because if they're all crumbly when I put them in, it's a lot harder to get the leaves in. So I'll just contradict myself slightly, because, and there's a reason for that, because what I'm going to do is I'm now going to crumble them all up, give them a bit more surface area. This is why I like them dry. I wouldn't be able to do this if they were wet. You'd have to chop them up or rip them up or whichever. But yeah, so you've got basically a bag. Like I said, I always use natural cordage whenever I can. It makes me feel better, because I know about my memory, and if I was to lose it, it'd just rot away with nature. If I need something stronger, well, I'll just apply some more together to make it stronger. This twine's pretty cheap though. It's Poundland twine. I wouldn't really rate it much, but there we go. It's Poundland. Get what you pay for. Right, so tea bag. Let's wait for this to boil, and we'll put down tea bag. So tea bag, in it goes. The water's come to a boil, so we turn that off, and then just pour in however much we want. I should say a cup full. It's about there-ish. As you can see, the water has already gone a lovely green colour. So we'll just let that steep for a little while, and then there's no need to strain it after, because I've got a reusable tea bag that I use for all sorts of herbal medicine.
And the last herbs that were in the tea bag were nettles and elderflowers, which again will be another video. So yes, we'll let that steep for a while, and that's basically birch leaf tea. That's the benefits of making a reusable tea bag. No straining, no bits, just drink it off, done. Right, so let's discuss the dosage and benefits. So you can use it as a detoxifying agent. It can act against kidney stones, urinary gravel, cystitis and gout, arthritis, rheumatism, psoriasis, eczema, fluid retention and fevers. The dosage basically is just take a cupful to 3 or 4 times a day until the symptoms subside. This brings us to the end of this part. I hope you've learned something, and hit subscribe. I'll be coming out with more videos as and when. Thanks for viewing, guys.